to going through that with you. And so I want you all to really, consider exactly what it is that we're doing. We're going live. I think I just got the notification. I've been wanting to do this, but I've gotten so busy. I've had so many people contacting me, wanting to increase their education as well as get access to the experts that we have. And so it's been great. It's been really, really good. Having a really good experience here. And just really enjoying walking through on this Rich Dad Poor Dad experience, as well as helping a lot of people. We've been helping so many people. So as you guys climb in here, I want to share with you tonight, we're going to have a major event. It's going to be on the high yield accounts, right? And so I want everybody to really, it's going to be a workshop straight up on the high yield accounts, okay? And so that's going to be powerful. I'm looking forward to that. I definitely want to hope that everybody's there for that. And that will be exciting. Okay. So, what I want to do again is recap this evening. And if you are interested in the event tonight, the workshop tonight for the high yield accounts, basically all I need you to do is send me or just text here or comment on this in the chat. Info. You can comment in the chat. Info. You can like this. Um, and you can do. You can like this. I'll get you the information tonight before it starts. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that you were clear on that. That means for any channel that you're on, if you're on our Twitch, if you're on our YouTube channel, if you're on our Instagram, Instagram I can't go live yet, but on the YouTube, if you're on our Facebook, if you're on our group or page, if you're on our LinkedIn, you should be getting this right now. I will soon be going out to Twitter as well as Instagram. So, guys, I'm super excited. I'm hoping you're excited. I'm hoping you get a lot out of everything that we do while we're on here. And I'm praying that it's going well for you. So, I really want us to really keep this thought process in our mind. The wealthy do not spend money, they do not spend credit, they spend interest. And that's what we're learning to do. Okay. And we're going back to the basics with the Rich Dad Poor Dad. And we're going to be walking through this. I'm going to try to get through as much of this as possible because I've had so many people actually hit me up to be able to work with us, get the experts, get their credit repaired, get the high yield savings accounts, being able to get the home ownership with no with no credit check, all of those type things. And so it's been super exciting. But I want to share something with you that I don't think you guys know that we do, and that is we're able to get you more money on your paycheck without you actually starting a business or working more hours. And so that's extremely exciting too. We help so many people. It's ridiculous. And I'm just seeing these testimonies. I'm about to start posting testimonies coming soon because I'm seeing so many testimonies come through on us helping people, and the experiences that they're having is just amazing. So if you work a job and you want more money on your check, but you don't want to work more hours and you don't want to start a business, contact me. Just like this chat, hit the chat. I'll get you the info for that. And we'll keep moving. So we've been helping a lot of people. So with that, with no further ado, we're going to move right into station identification one more time, and then we're going to move right into the book itself. Okay, so we're going to be moving to the next part of the chapter. We're in lesson 1, right? Chapter 1, page. I think we're going to start back on page 24, just so we can get a little idea where we left off and move forward from there. So if you don't have the book, make sure you get the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? We want to get that book. We're going through it. We're going back to the basics. We're going back into those areas of the basics, okay? And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I apologize for the lighting in this room. For some reason, the lighting acts up just a little bit. And so I do apologize if it looks like my camera's going in and out, but the lighting here does that in this room for some reason. So hold 1 second for me, station identification, and then we will go into the next phase. And you can listen to this like a podcast. You can listen to it in the background while you're working, while you're doing stuff and those type of things. And we got our whole channel on YouTube, which you see in the link. You can go back to and listen to old replays. You can scroll through our Facebook or Twitch or any of those. You'll be able to see the old replays to get part 1, part 2, before part 3. And so with that, station identification. But before we get started, we want to do what? Let's talk credit. And we're going where? Beyond credit. So welcome back, and hopefully you all can see my screen. We're about to go into the Rich Dad, Poor Dad portion of our viewing. And so we're going to be going through books. We're going to be going through information. We're going to be dealing with finance, and we're going to be dealing with finance not from a mindset point of view. You can get the mindset anywhere, and you need mindset in order to be able to do the things necessary in order for you to build for your finance. However, we're going to be talking about actual practical application. And that's why we're going through Robert Kiyosaki's books at this time, because there's more practical application than mindset. Even though mindset's in it, there's more practical application. And do not get me wrong, I love mindset. I talk about mindset somewhat on here, but we are going to go literally through this book. So listen in, pay attention, watch, do all of that. But you are welcome. And also make sure you put something in the chat. Anytime you put something in the chat, I'm not going to be able to see it while I'm reading, but I will be able to see it afterwards. So with that, we're going to start in the book. And it says, we sat in silence on that beautiful Hawaiian Saturday morning. My friends had just started their Little League baseball game, but for some reason I was now thankful, and I decided to work for 10 cents an hour. Now, if you saw the part 2, right, of Rich Dad, Poor Dad that we went through before, you will see he was angry at first. And Rich Dad broke down some information to him and let him know, and let him understand that the wealthy do not work for money, right? The poor and middle class work for money, right? The wealthy, their money works for them. And so he had to teach him a lesson in real life and allow life to push at him so that he was able to now be able to hear or read or quit. He was either going to quit, which is what most people do. Most people become professional quitters, and winners never quit and quitters never win, which his poor dad actually taught him, right? But his poor dad was able to make a lot of money, but he was considered a poor dad because of his mindset. And then he ended up broke at the end of his life, where his rich dad was started off looking like he was broke, but then ended up as a millionaire and able to help so many people around the world before he died. So that was the key difference. Okay. So where we're at is he's ready to hear. And now we're all ready to learn. So we're going to move forward. So we sat in silence on that beautiful Hawaiian Saturday morning. My friends had just started their Little League baseball game, but for some reason I was now thankful I had decided to work for 10 cents an hour. I sensed that I was about to learn something my friends wouldn't learn in school. Ready to learn? Asked Rich Dad. Absolutely, I said with a grin, right? And so welcome, Ray. I'm glad you're listening. Outstanding. Welcome to the call, Ray. Welcome, Edna. I'm glad you're here listening. Great. Outstanding. And start listening and pay close attention, as much attention as you can, okay? Because we're going to grow together. So he said, ready to learn, as Rich Dad? Absolutely, I said with a grin. I've kept my promise. I've been reaching you from afar, my rich dad said. At 9 years old, you've gotten a taste of what it feels like to work for money. Just multiply your last month by 50 years, and you will have an idea of what most people spend their life doing. And that's what most people do. Most people work for money, right? Not like all their life. I don't understand, I said. How did you feel waiting in line to see me, once to get hired and once to ask for more money? Terrible, I said. If you choose to work for money, This is what life will be like. So when you decide, and I talked about this, I'm not going to go deep into it because if you saw part two, or go watch part two to get up to this speed, but it says if you choose to work for money, that is what life will be like. So after this, you can go back and watch part two. Said Rich Dad. If you choose to work for money, that is what life will be like. And this is key. So if you make the conscious decision to be an employee or in the E quadrant all your life, then expect for life to look like what we went over in part two, right? And how did you feel when Mrs. Martin dropped 3 dimes in your hand for 3 hours of work? I felt like it wasn't enough. It seemed like nothing. I was disappointed, I said. And that is how most employees feel when they look at their paychecks, especially after all the tax and other deductions are taken out. At least you got 100%. You mean most workers don't get paid in everything? I asked with amazement. Heavens no, said Rich Dad. The government always takes its share first. How do they do that? I asked. Taxes, said Rich Dad. You're taxed when you earn, you're taxed when you spend, you're taxed when you save, you're taxed when you die. Why do people let the government do that to them? Now, that's a powerful question, isn't it? I want you to look at that question from a 9-year-old child. I want you to look at that question. What did he ask? He asked a key question. And what was that question? Why do people let the government do this? Welcome, Steve. I'm so glad you are enjoying this. Great, great, great. Outstanding. And welcome. All are welcome. What did he say? Why are they doing this? Why? That's a key point, key phrase, key question. Why do they let the government do this? Because they think that they have to. You have been tricked into believing that you have to allow them to treat you anyway. But that is not true. If you get an opportunity, um, text me or put in this text that you want information on our trust program, and I'm going to send you a video just on the trust or actually understanding taxes, because that's what he deals with, is really understanding taxes and how they work. So if you want information on taxes and how they work, just type in here taxes on this video, and I'll send you that video. Okay. So this is a key point right here. Okay. So it says, and if you could put trust, just put trust here, because that's going to make it easier for me to rectify and send it to you. Okay. All right. Okay, great. I'll do that. I'll send that to you, Ray. And anybody else, just put that in there and I'll definitely do that. So again, why do people let the government do that to them? Because they don't know any better. That's why. They think that they're supposed to. This comes to your check, as I was talking about earlier. They're taking money out of your check they ain't supposed to be taking out of your check. If you're an employee, this comes to a small business. You're getting money taken out. You getting taxed for stuff you're never supposed to pay, right? This comes to all in and investments. If you have a savings account or a Roth IRA and those deferred taxes, we have no risk. We have no risk, right? This is what the wealthy use. No risk. Listen to me. High yield savings accounts that have you don't ever have to pay taxes on your money, period. Legal, moral. And this is how the wealthy live. They live in 2 different universes. It's time for you to start living in that universe, right? So it's hard for us to understand it. And that's why I'm going through this book, so we can actually get to the nitty gritty of understanding the difference, how the wealthy are and live and how they think, which it doesn't matter if you're poor or middle class. It's just the fact that you haven't been taught it. Why? Because in the introduction of this book, what did it say? That that wealth or how to become rich is taught in the home, not in school. So school doesn't teach you how to be wealthy. You learn how to be wealthy at home. Do you think the Rothschilds and Oprah Winfrey and all of them have a different conversation with their children than we do? Or those that are in the poor or middle class? Absolutely. That's a whole different conversation. Well, tonight, like I said, we're gonna have a workshop. You'll be able to get in that conversation and learn the things that they're actually learning. And this is going to be powerful. So again, I'll be sending that out to you, Ray, and then the rest of you all, if you're interested as well, in the thing for the night, just like this, and or drop something in the text, and I'll definitely get you that information. So why do people let the government do that to them? Why do they do that? They don't know. The rich don't. See, the rich don't. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother reality. That's a whole nother reality, said Rich Dad with a smile. The poor and the middle class do. I bet you that I earn more than your dad, yet he pays more in taxes. So he makes more than his biological dad, which was the poor dad, but his biological father paid more in taxes. How can that be? I asked. At my age, that made no sense to me. Why would someone let the government do that to them? Rich Dad rocked slowly and soundly in his chair, just looking at me. Ready to learn? He asked. I nodded my head slowly. Yes, he was ready now. He was ready to rock and roll. As I said, there is a lot to learn. Learning how to have money work for you is a lifetime study. Most people go to college for 4 years and their education ends. I already know that my study of money will continue over my lifetime, simply because the more I find out, the more I find out I need to know. Most people never study the subject. They go to work, they get their paycheck, they balance their checkbooks, and that's it. Then they wonder why they have money problems, right? They wonder why they got money problems. They think that more money will solve the problem and don't realize that it's their lack of financial education that is the problem. So it's not the fact that you don't have money. That's why I said the poor middle class can all win, can all become wealthy, multimillionaires, billionaires even. That's possible. It's because I don't care how much money you make. You're going to have money problems until you are financially educated properly on money. And a lot of the things that are we've learned, even in when we think we know about money, is wrong. It's totally wrong. And this is I'm going to give you a key ingredient that was given to me. If the masses are doing it, be very weary of it. Anything you see the masses doing, be weary of it. Right? So this is going to be a different type of idea here, right? So if you see the masses doing anything, be wary of it. Okay. That means really study to make sure that the wealthy are doing it also, or those that are successful, truly successful, are doing it. Not that they look successful, but that they are successful, which we're going to learn as we go through this. But I already know that my study of money will continue over a lifetime. We read that. So most people do what? Never study the subject. So then we found out they think that more money will solve the problem and don't realize that it's their lack of financial education that is the problem. But most people never even study money. They don't understand it, what it is, how it works. So if you went back to part one, I even dealt with the definition of money, dealt with fiat currency, what we're actually living in, and where we're going from there. Right. So if you get opportunity after this, go to part one. You can watch that and watch these the rest of the way through. You can do it on here or on Facebook, but you have to find them. YouTube is a lot easier, and I have the link for YouTube because they're all in order. If you go into the live tab, okay. If you go into the live tab, I'll turn those into a playlist coming up shortly. But in the live tab, you can go through the lives, and they're right there. So my dad has tax problems because he doesn't understand money, I asked, confused. Look, said Rich Dad, taxes are just one small section on learning how to have money work for you. Today, I just want to find out if you still have the passion to learn about money. Most people don't. They want to go to school, learn a profession, have fun at their work, and earn lots of money. That's what they want to do, right? They want to go to school, learn a profession, have fun at their work, and earn lots of money. That right there is the E quadrant. Okay. Now, if that's what you want to do, you do it and be happy with it. Right. Now, one day they wake up with big money problems and then they can't stop working. And this is where they get you. This is called the debt trap. This is the rat race. This is the debt trap. See, when you get to a point in your life, really, if you follow this, if you start with me at 20, by the time you are 40, you shouldn't even have to have a job. You shouldn't even have to work. If you have a business now and you're starting and learning this, what we're going to be talking about over these weeks, by the time like you should start almost living off of interest. I'd say probably within 1 year at the max. You could actually start living off your interest within 1 to 2 years, easy. Right? And it's not even going to hurt you. It's not going to change your lifestyle. It's not going to change what you're already doing. It's just you're just going to make a small change that's going to make a big difference in your life. Okay. And so I talked about that also in part two. I want to continue in this book right now because, like I said, I got a lot of people that's on me, and I've got to definitely make sure that I'm there for them. And so if somebody calls or whatever, I'm going to have to pause this and stop for a minute, and then we have to convene again later. Okay. So again, we're gonna continue. It says that's the price of only knowing how to work for money instead of studying how to have money work for you. So do you still have the passion to learn? Asked Rich Dad. I nodded my head. Good, said Rich Dad. Now get back to work. This time I will pay you nothing. What? I asked in amazement. You heard me, nothing. You will work the same 3 hours every Saturday, but this time you will not be paid 10 cents per hour. You said you wanted me to learn to not work for money, so I'm not going to pay you anything. Right? Now, this is deep. This is deep right here. Right? This is a very deep matter. And he has the money to pay him. That's not a problem. But he wants him to learn and grow. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I've already had this conversation with Mike, and he's already working, dusting, and stacking canned goods for free. You better hurry back and get there. That's not fair, I shouted. You got to pay something. You said you wanted to learn. If you don't learn this now, you'll grow up to be like those two women and the older men sitting in my living room, working for money and hoping I don't fire them. Right. And so that's a beautiful thing. We call that firing your boss. And that's what we want to help you be able to do. If you work a job or whatever, we want to be able to help you definitely to be able to fire your boss. If you want to be able to fire your boss, put fire your boss in the chat, please. Or at any time you can comment on this, comment and put fire your boss on this if you're watching this later. Fire your boss. That's a beautiful thing. I love that subject. I love being able to help people fire their bosses. When you can walk in your job and just be happy, like you're not worried about nothing. So if you like your job and you want to keep it, then all that means is you don't have to worry about them firing you. You don't have to worry about being in a situation where your mother's on her deathbed and you can't go and see her because you have a job. And that is crazy. And I've seen it happen. And that is just ridiculous. Or like your dad earning lots of money only to be in debt up to his eyeballs, hoping more money will solve the problem. More money will never solve the problem, right? So if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for more money to solve your problems, you're looking in the wrong area, right? So here's the deal. The key thing is, hold 1 second for me, okay? The key thing is, I got somebody texting me right now. They want more information. Hold 1 second. I got to send this off to them right now. Hold on. Yep. This one is not we simply. This one is okay. I got it. Sorry about this, guys. Give me 1 quick second. I gotta save lives. I'm saving, like I said, we'll be saving lives as we go through this process. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love to help people. I love seeing people win. Okay. So Again, it said, um, or like your dad, earning lots of money only to be in debt up to his eyeballs, hoping more money will solve the problem. If that's what you want, I'll go back to our original deal of 10 cents an hour. Or you can do what most adults do. Complain that there's not enough pay, right? Complain that there's not enough pay, quit and go looking for another job. Like another job will do what? Solve their problems, but it won't. Why? Because they haven't learned anything new. So it's the knowledge that's going to help you to be able to learn something new and grow. And then once you get that knowledge, you use the experts that are masters in their field, right? In order to make it happen. If you want access to those type of experts, put experts in the chat. Put experts in the chat and I'll get that information to you over the next couple of days. Okay. So again, if you want to learn the truth of the on the tax game, put in taxes or trust. If you want to learn the truth on the on how to fire your boss, put in boss. I mean fire my boss. And if you want to learn how to uh if you want to learn the real on the not getting out of the job, but man, I just lost my train of thought. I'll go back. Not enough pay, quit, go looking for another job. Can somebody help me on that one? All right. So anyway, we're going to continue again. Boom, boom. Oh, if you want to get with the experts, yeah, put in experts. That's what I was saying. Okay, great. So, Ray, great. I'll get you on the taxes and the experts. Boom, 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 boom. But what do I do? He said, complain that there's not enough pay, quit, and go looking for another job. But what do? I asked. Rich Dad tapped me on the head. Use this, he said, talking about his mind, his brain, right? Use this, he said. If you use it well, you will soon thank me for giving you an opportunity and you will grow into a rich man. Okay? So this is key right here. This is key. All right? Let me see something. I'm going to come down. I do apologize. I got people texting me right now. I'm ready to get started in business. We rock and rolling right now. All right, cool. Everything is good. Everything is good. All right. So we left off where he said he's not going to pay him anything, and he's waiting for him to give him his answer, right? But what do? I asked. Rich Dad tapped me on the head. Use this, he said. If you use it well, you will soon thank me for giving you an opportunity, and you will grow into a rich man. So now he told him to use his head. I stood there, still not believing what a raw deal I was handed. I came to ask for a raise, and somehow I was instead working for nothing. Oh, right. But he was working for more than he could even imagine. He was working for everything. He was going to win. He was winning, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome those that are winning. All right. So that's fine, right? I'll talk to you later. I look forward to seeing you soon. All right. Welcome to all those that are here. We're looking at again Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is part 3 of that. And we're continuing. You can listen to this like you do a podcast or something like that. But I'm live right now, kicking it with you all and enjoying it. And we're growing financially and learning the actual practical principles, not the mindset. Mindset is one thing, but we need to get practical. A lot of people understand the mindset of making money, what they need to do and how to overcome and this and that, and need to be in peace in the right space. All of that is being done, and a lot of people are growing into that space. But what I found was when helping people with finance, whether it was credit repair or helping them to understand high yield interest, high yield return accounts, or how to get a home with no credit check, thing that the wealthy do, right? Without no credit, don't have to do any of that. People couldn't understand it because because financial education is taught in the home. Okay. So we're going to grow because we found that the wealthy have a different conversation. They were taught something different at their house than those that are not wealthy, right? And so let's get the conversation. And this is the basic right here. And we'll be going through more and more of his book. So this is part 3 of this book. We're still in lesson 1. It says Rich Dad tapped me on the head again and said, use this, right? Now get out of here and get back to work. So he's telling him, use his mind and get back to work. He knew he wanted it. He knew he was ready to go. And he's starting to like Robert Kiyosaki now. He's starting to like that little kid because he grasped it. And it's so hard. This is the one thing that is hard for most people, is to really grasp the concept of wealth, because it's in direct opposition to the concepts of poverty and middle class. The things we were taught in order to stay impoverished and to become middle class are are diametrically opposed, right, to to the to the to being wealthy, right? The idea, the thought process of being wealthy. So we want to really concentrate on that. Why? Because what happens is your mind says, I was taught this is how you become wealthy, but everything you were taught was a lie. Everything. And I didn't learn that until I just came back from a conference down in Florida. And when I heard the information that I heard, I was in a meeting for 16 hours, right? I wrote business and marketing plans for corporations and helped them execute them. I want you to understand, what does that mean? That means that I understand balance sheets. I understand income statements. I understand cash flow. I understand break-even analysis. I understand all of that. I was in a room for 16 hours about money, right? And I had no idea what they were talking about. I have never heard the things that they were saying, because the wealthy live in another universe. And so what we're going to be doing is helping people walk into that universe, even though you're not wealthy. And the only reason I'm doing this book is to get people in that space mentally so they can hear the other conversations, right? So it says, I didn't tell my poor dad I wasn't being paid. He would have understood. Oh, lesson 1, I'm sorry. The rich don't work for money. I didn't tell my poor dad I wasn't being paid. He wouldn't have understood. And I didn't want to try to explain something I didn't understand myself. For 3 more weeks, Mike and I worked 3 hours every Saturday for nothing. Now, how many weeks would you work for nothing? How long would you work for nothing just to be able to get that information? Right? The work didn't bother me either, and the routine got easier, but it was the missed baseball games and not being able to afford to buy a few comic books that got to me. Rich Dad stopped by at noon on the 3rd week. We heard his truck pull up in the parking lot and sputter when the engine was turned off. He entered the store and greeted Mrs. Martin with a hug. After finding out how things were going in the store, he reached into the ice cream freezer, pulled out 2 bars, paid for them, and signaled to Mike and me. Let's go for a walk, boys. 3 weeks. Now, it's been 3 weeks since they had that conversation. So if we dealing with mindset, what mindset are we looking at? Right? What mindset are we looking at? Right? The mindset that we're looking at here is faith. Faith is the mindset that you have to have in order to do that. Right? But most people don't have faith. So we crossed the street, dodging a few cars, and walked across a large grassy field where a few adults were playing softball. Sitting down at a lone picnic table, he handed Mike and me the treats. How's it going, boys? Okay, Mike said. I nodded in agreement. Learn anything yet? Rich Dad asked. Mike and I looked at each other, shrugged our shoulders, and shook our heads in unison, avoiding one of life's biggest traps. Well, you boys had better start thinking. You're staring at one of life's biggest lessons. If you learn it, you'll enjoy a life of great freedom and security. If you don't, you'll wind up like Mrs. Martin and most of the people playing softball in this park. They work very hard for little money, clinging to the illusion of job security and looking forward to a 3-week vacation each year and maybe a skimpy pension after 45 years of service. That's beautiful. My daily check just came in. I love it. All right, so I need to deal with this call. So give me 1 second. If you don't wind up like Mrs. Martin and most of the people playing softball in this park, they will work very hard for little money, clinging to the illusion of job security and looking forward to a 3-week vacation each year and maybe a skimpy pension after 45 years of service. If that excites you, I'll give you a raise to 25 cents an hour. Hold 1 second. I got to handle this call, guys. So hold 1 second for me. While I handle this call, let me give station identification. And I'm going to handle this call real quick, and then we will continue. Mr. Dummy is me, so please don't get offended as I talk about myself. Mr. Dummy was good at making money. Mr. Dummy would make a lot of money and then lose a lot of money. Mr. Dummy would make a lot of money and spend a lot of money. Mr. Dummy would make money and invest money himself and therefore lose more money. Then one day, Mr. Dummy learned a very important lesson that millionaires and billionaires do not invest their money. They have high caliber experts that invest their money for them. Mr. Dummy again thought he was smart and tried to find experts that could invest his money for him. But he found that the average experts were low caliber investors and could only get a minimal return on Mr. Dummy's money. That's when Mr. Dummy ran into a group of experts that were the same caliber of investors as Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Bill Gates caliber of investors. Now Mr. Dummy has a clear path to billion-dollar status. Mr. Dummy became Mr. Smart once he realized he was smart at making money, but not an expert in investing money. If you would like access to these investors, please like or comment. Mr. Dummy is me. All right, everyone. I do apologize. It looks like I'm going to have to handle some business real quick. And so we will continue again. It will be part 4 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We'll be starting back on page 27. All right. Appreciate you all. See you all at the top. Again, like on here, I'll get you all the information and you can continue with this as well. We will continue shortly. Bye.